welcome to this week's Power Hour. We are so glad that you are here with us. We are going to have Brittany Long here with us today, but first let me just do a couple of announcements. Hold on one second. I'm looking for my pop out because yeah, where'd it go? Seriously. Sorry, guys. Give me 2 seconds. There we go. Here it is. Man. All right. Start again so we can trim this up nice afterwards. The power of video editing, right? So welcome to our weekly Power Hour. If you're new around here, we meet each and every Tuesday at noon Pacific, 1 Mountain, 2 Central, 3 Eastern. And every single week we have a guest speaker who graciously comes in, shares their knowledge and wisdom with us. And it's always a great time. At the end, so we're gonna let Brittany, today we have Brittany Long, by the way, she's the queen of Evergreen. So glad she is here with us. But at the end of the presentation, we will end the live stream, and in the Zoom room with members only, we have an exclusive Q&A and some open networking time if we have time for that. So if you're interested in joining us in the membership and in the Zoom room each and every week, you're welcome to do that. It's NACWE.com, N-A-C-W-E, just in case. And really quickly, here is my PBS disclaimer of the week. This program represents the opinions of guest speakers and participants and may or may not necessarily reflect the opinions of NACWE. Content is for informational purposes only and should not replace professional or medical advice specific to your circumstances. So last but not least, you should ultimately be consulting God and the Holy Spirit for direction in your life. There you go. Well, PBS probably doesn't say that last part. Really quickly, the agenda for today, we're going to run through a few announcements. We'll pray real quick and then let Brittany chat with you all. And then again, like I said, we'll shut down the live stream. So welcome to February, right? First week, here we are in February. Brittany's going to kick off the week for us. Next week, Beth Copeland is going to be with us. If you don't know who that is, join us to meet her and find out. She's going to be doing some amazing things for NACWE. The third week, Jill Lublin is going to be joining us, and she is a public relations specialist. So she does all this publicity stuff. I have her book here. I'm probably going to be giving away a copy of it that week. And then Melanie, who's in the room, in the Zoom room today, is going to be rescheduling that one, but she will join us again later in the month. But she is America's dementia coach. So excited to hear all about that. Hopefully it's not something we have to worry about, but inevitably we will. It's a growing epidemic. Next, is it next week? Yes, next week is the Tucson in-person networking. So we would love to see you there. And then the 23rd is East Valley, so Phoenix. And then March 2nd will be the Dallas one. And I don't think it says it on here yet. Nope, but March 4th will be the Atlanta launch, just in case we're ready. Most of the time, the second Thursdays or the third Fridays, we have a wisdom well each and every month. It is a mini mastermind format where you get to not only receive the wisdom of everybody in the room, but you're giving yours also, which is a nice give and take. It's my favorite event that we do every month. We did not have one today because Diane Cunningham Ellis, who runs that one, is in Cancun this week for her. But we will have one next Friday. Come on, go. Oh yes, our virtual co-working. Robin Moore runs this one. She is our Tucson director. And so that happens the first Thursday of every month. So that will be March 2nd as well. And we are starting back up our prayer calls each week. It will be every Monday, starting next week. And so 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, I'm going to run those. The format is going to look like this. We're going to come in, we're going to pray opening prayer, do a short devotional, and then we're going to pray specifically for each other and our businesses. And so everybody in the room, if you had a taste of NACWE, it was really good. Like, we get to stop and pray for each person specifically. So it's a great way to start the week for sure. April 19th to the 22nd is our conference. And the links, oh, by the way, if you want to get your ticket to that right now, you can go to NACWEconference.com. For wisdom provides protection, just as money provides protection, but the advantage of knowledge is this: wisdom preserves the life of its owner. Remember who you are. You are of God, from God, made in his image, loved from the depth of God's unfathomable Father's heart, treasured beyond imagination. That was Lisa Turkist. So we're going to pray real quick, and then I'm going to introduce Brittany, and then we're going to get going. So that's it for the announcements. Woo. Father God, thank you. Thank you for each and every person in this room, Lord. Thank you for the gifts that you've given them to give the world. And so, Lord, I just lift up each one. May your face shine upon them. May your countenance go before them. May you order their steps as they step out in faith. We love you and we praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. So, artificial intelligence. I know if you have been around me at all, you've heard me talk about ChatGPT, OpenAI, like all the things. A lot of what I've learned about it came from Brittany, just so you know. She has, and I'm sure she's going to tell you about this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. She has this amazing low-cost AI copy club that is to die for. So, Brittany, her mission in life, and again, I'm going to let her tell you more about this, but is to evergreen everything, automate things so that your business does what you want it to do, right? Like, spend time with your family. She has a Facebook group called Fridays Off Club. Like, that's her goal. That's her mission. That's where all of this leads to. So it's not like AI for AI's sake. It has a purpose. And she has a very specific way of using it that is helpful so that you won't be like everybody else. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Brittany. Brittany is the queen of evergreen. So welcome, Brittany.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Actually, I'll wait just a second. So before we get started, if you'd like to share a little bit about your business in the chat, I will be able to take a few of them and show you exactly how to use ChatGPT and OpenAI with your specific example. So if you want me to show you how to do it with your example specifically, go ahead and put that in the chat now. I'll do as many as I can, but I find that seeing those examples is super, super helpful. So like Heather said, I don't use AI just for the sake of AI, but I use it because well, first of all, I don't really think it's going to be going away anytime soon. I think we've hit that tipping point where within the next 5 years, I think everybody's going to be using it. And I was a little hesitant at first because I was like, are we going to have some Terminator stuff going on here? Like, what do we expect? But the more that I've gotten into it, the more I've been able to see how much time it saved me and how I'm able to go deeper with my family, deeper with clients, instead of doing a lot of stuff that takes time, especially when you're starting to write an email, you're starting to write copy. There's sometimes that resistance, or sometimes it just takes a really long time to get started. This kind of does away with that. It helps you go from not having anything on your page, that blank page, to having something written that you can then edit. And so that's really the goal here, is to be able to edit or have something that's editable that you can quickly use. And for those of you that are saying what you're doing, go ahead and tell me a little bit about your audience too, and I'll be able to create something even better for you with this. Now, Heather mentioned, the Fridays Off Club and stuff like that. So for me, I have, there's two main reasons that I'm doing this with AI. And one is I had a cancer scare a few years ago, literally thought I was dying because that's what they said. It ended up being a misdiagnosis, like huge, really, really big roller coaster ride there. But it really changed how I look at work and the role of work in my life. I used to see work as like, oh, if I just work a little harder, then I'll be worthy. And there's a lot of identity that I had wrapped up into work. And I saw that, coming from my family and whatnot. And then the other reason is because my dad had a stroke a few years ago, like 2 major strokes, landed in ICU. And one thing he told me was, I wish I had spent more time with you and your brother. And so I think, okay, how can I bring something into the world that I feel like is meaningful, that is purpose fueled, without letting it, be this all consuming thing. And so that's where I'm using AI to help me do some of those things so that I can get more out of it. My husband, I was showing him how to use it. He saved 17 hours in 1 week using AI. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I hope you're excited about it because it's going to be super helpful. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and Christy, I'm going to take you as an example. She said, I'm a Pinterest manager. I create pins for my clients and run their Pinterest. I'd love to be able to use AI for more of my work. Okay. And are your clients, Christy, are your clients business owners, solopreneurs? Tell me a little bit more about them. And let's see, Heidi, I'll go ahead and use yours too. I'm a leadership and mental fitness coach. I use my seasoned mindset strategy to help women learn how to talk back to the people-pleasing, perfectionist, overthinking voices in their heads. Okay, perfect. So Heidi, I'm going to start with yours because I feel like I have a better or more clear idea on your audience. So I'm just going to copy that and then let me share my screen. Now, if you haven't used this yet, this is called ChatGPT, and there's a few ways you can get into it. Let me go ahead and show you. So you can go to the chat here and you should be able to log in. I'll drop this in the comments. And then if you can't get in there, there's another way with the playground. Sometimes it's at capacity, so you just keep refreshing. So head here to the playground. Let me just log in real quick. I'm a little nervous about doing this. I don't want it to be like, we're at capacity and not be able to get back in, but hopefully. Okay, so this one's the playground. This is one where you can kind of test it out. This one, I haven't ever found it to be at capacity. So if you're wanting to test it out and it's full, the other one, this is a good place to go. It has some preset examples so you can get some ideas of what you can use it with. But if you want to use actual ChatGPT, you'll click here, try it now, and then that'll take you to that. And then the other place that I've seen people be able to get in is this link, and I'll drop this one here too. So hopefully using one of those links, if you're not already in, you'll be able to get in and start playing it around with it and practicing it. All right, so let's go ahead and go here, and I'm just going to go ahead and put yours. Whoops. Let me copy and paste your comment again. Let's see. I think it was Heidi or Sherry. Okay, Sherry. No, Heidi, I was right.
It
was
Heidi. Yeah.
I was like, where am I? Okay. Heidi, I'm going to put yours here. So there's a few things that we can do here. We can start with emails. We can start with pretty much anything you want as far as marketing goes, but let's go ahead and write an email. So Heidi said, I'm a leadership and mental fitness coach. I use my seasoned mindset strategy to help women learn to talk back to the people-pleasing, perfectionist, overthinking voices in their head. So what I'm going to start with, and let me make this a little bit bigger so it's easier to see because that's a little bit too small for me. Oh, that's why, because I had it at 75%. I was like, do I need glasses? Okay, so I'm going to say, think like a email strategist who, and I'm just going to pull this up again, who is writing for a leadership and mental fitness coach. I'm going to say writing an email. So there's a few things. I'm being specific about how I want it to think. So I'm having it think like an email strategist, and then I'm talking about what it's for. Let's see, I want you to write a helpful email. And so this would be something that's like just a broadcast email or an email that's meant to be showing them your authority, showing them how you can help. So I want you to write an email about my seasoned mindset strategy, or maybe let's not even do that first. That'd be more an offering email. So I want you to write a helpful email about how to talk back to the people pleasing, etc. So I'm going to add that in. In the email, give them 5 tips to talk back to those voices in their head. And I want it to include an analogy. I said include at least one unique analogy. And Heidi, I don't know you super well, but I'm going to go ahead and just give it some things for personality. So I'm going to say add lots of personality and make the tone of the email friendly, empathetic, encouraging, and inspirational. Okay, let's see. I'm thinking, is there anything else I wanted to tell it to do? Not really this time.
In the first, okay, I don't know if it matters. In the first line, it says writing and email instead of and.
Thank you. It should have said and, yeah, but it's still
figures it out.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you don't know how to spell. Cool. All right, so we have 5 proven ways to tame your inner critic and embrace mental fitness. That would be a little bit long, but we'll come back to the subject line in a second. Typically when I'm writing emails, so my background is in evergreen email marketing. And so I would remove this because this is your prime real estate. And so typically I don't recommend that people start with a dear so-and-so or hello so-and-so, because that would be like being a realtor and showing a beachfront property. And instead of starting with, here's the beachfront property, you're like, here's some really amazing large trash cans. It's just not, it's not giving them what they want most first. And so I like to kind of drop them into it at the beginning. So having a hook like this would be really good. So do you ever feel like you're constantly battling the voices in your head? Those perfectionist, people-pleasing, overthinking voices can be so tough to deal with. So I would do, this would be a line, and then I would drop this down to a new paragraph so that it's chunked up. If you have it just like this in your email, it's going to be a lot of content, especially for the 50% of people that are opening it on their mobile device. So that's why I would drop that down. But the good news is there's hope. If it was me, I don't really talk like that, but if that's how you talk, then leave it. So I would drop this down and I would say, I would probably tell a little bit of a story, maybe about how I dealt with some of that. And then I would say something like, here are 5 ways I helped, or that helped me get out of that place and take control of my mental fitness. Or instead of take control of your mental fitness, because I'm not sure it totally understands that, because I noticed instead of explaining mental fitness, it just said mental fitness. So you may have to do a little bit of work to kind of explain what that is. And then it has these. I would bold each of these first ones, and then I would chunk this up a little bit. But already it's giving us a lot. And I'm curious, Heidi, are any of these accurate for you? And let me see. You can.
Yeah, all of them are accurate.
Awesome. Cool. So was this helpful to see how quickly it can do something like that?
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome.
I think that's the piece for AI that I'm finding the most challenging, is figuring out how to tell it what to do as opposed to just putting in my own thoughts.
Right. Right. Yeah. Okay. So then if you like it, you'd be like, okay, perfect. That's what I want. And if you do like it, you also want to give it a thumbs up so that it starts to learn your habits and your preferences. So then let's say, okay, awesome. We like what we have so far. I do want to have a call to action here. So what I would do with this is I would copy and paste this. I always copy and paste it into a Google Doc, because if they do a, like a new, it was 3.0, then it went to 3.5. So like if they update it, then you could lose those. So I always copy and paste that, and then you can make some tweaks and edit it. But in total, after the tweaks, it probably would take you maybe 5-10 more minutes, and then it's out the door. And so that makes it a lot faster than for most people, you know, how writing email goes for them. And if you're thinking, okay, but I don't know what to do for the subject line, here's what I say for that as far as the prompt goes. I say, great, looks good. Please write 10 potential subject lines. And if you write emails to your audience, I would write this prompt down because it'll be super, super helpful for you. So 10 potential subject lines that are 7 words or less, because anything more than that, and it usually gets cut off. 7 words or less that include emotive, I'm going to say power words that evoke an image or emotion. That, let's see, what else do I want to say? That include punctuation, like ellipses, question mark. I'm just gonna say ellipses or a question mark because that's the one that, those are the ones that do best. Now there's other things that I could say, like I want to start with the first letter of the first, or I want to start the first letter of that subject line with a capital letter. I want to add numbers in it. So there's other things that I could say, but I'm going to start with this because I don't want to bog it down with too many instructions and then it gets kind of stuck. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so unleash your inner warrior. question mark. Conquer negative thoughts, empower your mind today, defeat your inner critic. I kind of like that one personally. Transform your self-talk, elevate your mental fitness, find strength now. Heidi, are any of these appealing to you for your audience?
Yeah. So many of them. I like empower your mind today. I like unleash your inner warrior. Be your own cheerleader.
Okay, so let's say you like those, but you want some more options. So I'm going to say I really like 3, 1, and 10. Can you write, let's say 5 more subject lines that are more like that style? And I also find if you give it a specific number, like if you just say write another subject line or write more subject lines, you're only going to get a few. So that's why I usually say a specific numbers with how many I want. All right, so we have a few more here that we can choose from. Fantastic. We got our email. Awesome. Now the next thing we're going to do is write social posts with it. So I'm going to say, now I want you to create 10 social post text that are 7 words or less. And again, that's just because I'm going to put it on an image and I want it to be able to like fit on the image without squeezing a ton of stuff in there. Basically, I want to help me stop the scroll. So now I want you to create 10 social posts that are 7 words or less and include power words that evoke an emotion or image. I also want you to create I also want you to give me ideas for each background image that will go behind the text. And then please write the caption for each post. Actually, I'm going to change this for each background image. It'll go behind the 10 social posts or behind each of the 10 social posts. Basically, I want it to know that it's different. I don't want it to just give me the same image. Let's see. So I'm going to say 2 ideas. That way I can choose from them. And then please write a caption for each post that includes a story and analogy. Write the captions with, let's see. Actually, I'm going to say I want the captions to sound empathetic, encouraging, oops, that's how you spell it. Encouraging, inspiring, and motivational. Okay, so let's see what it comes up with. All right, so we have 10 social posts with accompanying image ideas. Take control of your thoughts. Persons, oh, you know what I forgot to do is I meant to say from that email. So I'm going to just stop generating. I actually like what I'm seeing so far, and I probably could have just kept it going. Now I'm kind of sad I didn't because I really like the first one. But I'm going to say from the email above. So I'm just copy and paste that. Now I want you to create 10 social post text using the email above as the inspiration. Okay, let's try that now. Okay, there we go. So it gives you the image ideas. Now this for me, it has been a game changer, like to not have this kind of decision fatigue because I don't have to think about, okay, now it took me forever to write the captions or it took me forever to write the text. Now what am I going to put on the image? The amount of time for this alone that has saved me is massive. Like, can you imagine how much longer it would have taken you? And in this, it'll probably take us about 10 minutes to go through this for one person. And we will have written an email, written social posts, come up with the background image ideas, come up with the captions, come up with the subject lines. I'm also going to show you how to turn it into Facebook Live outline. And it'll take us about 10 minutes. And so the amount of work that you are getting off your plate, like just editing is going to take a lot less time. And then not only the amount of work, but also just the decision fatigue, having to think about stuff and decide what you want. You still have to think because you still have to, edit stuff, but it's not as heavy. All right, so let's see what we have. Number 5, transform your self-talk, image ideas, a person writing positive affirmations in a notebook, a graphic that reads, transform your thoughts, transform your life. The caption, change the way you speak to yourself and watch the magic unfold. Visualize success, embrace mental fitness. A person doing yoga, showcasing their mental and physical fitness, a graphic reads, fit mind, fit life. So you don't have to do the graphic if you don't want, but that's another, that could even be another image in and of itself. The caption, just like physical fitness, mental fitness takes work, but the rewards are worth it. Embrace the journey. And if you want to add more, you could talk about a story of your own. Now let's say I do want to add more stories into there. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to, where did that one go that I was just reading? Embrace the journey. So I'm going to say, now I want you to add a story about my experience embracing the journey with mental fitness and how it's helped me have a healthful life. Let's see. Okay, now I want you to add a story about my experience into number 7's caption. All right, so now it's going to give us an updated caption. Just like physical fitness, mental fitness takes work where the rewards are worth it. Embracing the mental journey has transformed my life in ways I never thought possible. It helped me find peace with my thoughts, overcome self-doubt, and lead a more fulfilling life. I encourage you to do the same and see the amazing benefits for yourself. Heidi, what do you think?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, how do I like make sure I capture all this, right?
Right. Okay, so now what I'm going to say is, okay, now I want you to create an outline for a Facebook Live using all the information, or maybe using just the information we've talked about so far. Okay, so we'll do it for Facebook Live, and then we're going to do a TikTok because it'll be a little bit different. Is anybody using TikTok? If so, just say yes in the comments. I'm really curious to see. All right, I'm just checking to see any questions. Sherry said, what are the different AIs available? Do you prefer this chat one over others? If so, why? What do we look for? What do we be aware of? Great questions. So there's so many different AI tools available. Like we wouldn't even be able to fit them all in, like just even saying their names if we talked about them right now. As far as copy goes, there's Copy AI, Jasper, this one. Those are my top favorite ones to go to. But I like this one best because first of all, I think it's more user-friendly than any other. It's also free. There's a free version. They just started rolling out a paid version, which is only $20, which is so well worth it. I don't have the paid version yet, but because they're rolling it out for anybody on the wait list, and they have like millions of people using this, so it'll probably be a while. But I love this one because I've gotten the best results from it, and I'm able to kind of talk back and forth to it more versus some of the other ones, which you really can't do as much. So this one is my personal favorite. Let's see. And then what do we look for? What do we be aware of? So this, I would say the stuff I get from here is probably 90% accurate, maybe even 95, but there's going to be some things that just aren't accurate because it's not pulling from the internet. It's pulling from something called a language model. And so without going too much in depth with that right now, the main thing I guess I want to say is not all of it might be up to date. So you'll want to check in with it and put your own stuff on it, your own spin on it. The other thing I'd say your own spin on it and your own knowledge on it, just like be a fact checker or have somebody on your team check the facts if you're sending something out. The other thing I would say to be careful of is if you give a prompt that's exactly the same as a prompt somebody else is getting, you may have similar answers. And so I would make sure that you are customizing it so you're not just using the same exact prompt as somebody else for your niche. And then I think the last thing I was going to say is if you do decide to use something like Jasper, for example, I think Jasper is one that pulls from the internet. So you'll want to make sure to edit it so that you're not plagiarizing, or it's not, you're making sure it's not pulling from a website or a blog post or something like that on the internet. So that's one thing I would say there. And if you want to check, you can use, I believe it's 0GPT. Let's double check. There's one that's GPT-0 and one that's 0GPT. So I always have to double check. So I think this is the one I was thinking of. Okay, so this one detects how much of like AI is in your posts, your email, whatever it is. And so this is a great one if you want to make sure you're not plagiarizing. And then the other one, which I think is GPT-0, GPT-0.me, this shows you how much AI is in it. So what I like to do is if I'm doing a blog post, for example, I'll copy and paste the blog post into here, make sure there's nothing that's been plagiarized, which using ChatGPT there won't be, but making sure there's nothing that's plagiarized. And then I usually rewrite it so that it's more human generated. I edit it, I rewrite it. You can also use Quillbot to help you rewrite it. And then I put it back into GPT-0 to see how much of it is saying is AI generated. I want to make it say that it's as human generated as possible because then it's more likely that I won't, if Google ever is like, oh, you can't use AI, there's less likelihood that I'll get, dinged for that. So that's why I do that. Okay, so if I want to have Quillbot rewrite it, all I have to do is copy and paste my text, and then it's going to rewrite it over here. It also gives you some options, like let's take one of these, for example. Okay, so I'm going to put this in here and paraphrase. And again, this is Quillbot, Quillbott. All right. So it's giving me some ideas. I can click on it and it's going to rephrase. And again, it gives me some ideas here. Same thing with this. So I could say instead of benefits, advantages, rewards, gains, etc. Now let's also go ahead and type this in and get the results. And this one is a little bit funky for me. Sometimes it takes a while. You have to scroll down. So the sentences highlighted are most likely written by AI, which is interesting because literally the whole thing is written by AI. But it's just saying these. So what I'm going to do next is I can go here and let's copy and paste this and see what it says now. Because I haven't rephrased anything, it may still say that it's almost completely written by AI, but it doesn't always. See this one, your text is likely to be written entirely by a human. So this is, if you're going to be doing blog posts and stuff like that, I would certainly use Quillbot and team that up with GPT-0 so that there's no issues with SEO later on. So that, hopefully that answers your question. I feel like I'm way more in depth, so hopefully that was helpful. Okay, so I'm just going to see any questions before we move on to the next one. If you have questions, go ahead and drop them in. Okay, here's one. Can you ask it? Oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, that's all. I was just going to say Carmen was asking about writing a series of emails, and if you you could do it, or if you needed to do them one at a time.
So you can do a series. For me personally, I prefer to do them one at a time. But I will say this should connect to the last email you wrote, or I want this to flow with the last email that you wrote. That way it knows that it's supposed to go together and it's supposed to connect without giving it too many things to do. Sometimes if I give it too much to do, it won't do exactly what I'm looking for, or it won't do close enough to what I'm looking for. So that's why I do them separately. And then I would say if you're doing a series and an automation, ahead of time, have the goal written down, make sure you're telling who your audience is, what the goal is, and then what that call to action is that you want for each of those. And that seems to do best. So let me scroll down. Makes sense. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so then I keep it all in one chat. So let's say I'm going to do someone else's. I wouldn't keep it in this chat. I would go to the next one. And yeah, if you want to have it in that sequence, keep it all in one chat. That'll work really well for you. Let's see.
I had one question, Brittany.
Yeah.
Would you do hashtags using this also? Ask for hashtags, especially for the social media ones?
Absolutely. Yep. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm just making sure I didn't miss any others. Oh, how do you know if you're using the same prompt as someone else? If you go to, okay, I see what you're saying. So you probably won't know when you're creating it if you're using the same prompt, but if you paste the answer or part of the answer into Google and it comes back with it being on somebody else's site, that's how you would know somebody else has already used it. Most of the time, I don't think that's going to happen, especially if you're making those edits yourself. And then say the question again. Sorry, I got distracted.
Oh, so about hashtags.
Hashtag, yes, sorry. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we have Facebook Live outline, introduction, define mental fitness and it's important, common mental fitness challenges, 5 tips from the email, use anecdotes and stories to illustrate each tip. So then I can also say, okay, now I want you to create a script. So if I'm an outline girl, I like outlines, we'll do a script and then we'll do the hashtags. So now I want you to create a script for the Facebook Live using the info above. And then the next one I'm going to say is now I want you to create, we'll say 10 hashtags that I can, let's see, to use with the social posts. Let's see, each hashtag should align or should attract, and then I would talk about your audience. So people interested in improving their mental fitness, mindset, personal development. I'm not sure if these are true, but let's just say that they are for the sake of, mindset, personal development. Okay, so then let's go back to this one. Is it still going? It gave me a script. It even said intro music starts playing. So really give the whole scope here. Host introduces themselves and briefly talks about their personal journey with mental fitness. Today, we're going to be discussing the importance of mental fitness. Then you have the different segments here. This is something that I had for a Facebook Live. You could probably also use it for a YouTube video as well. Often when I'm asking it to create a script, I'll say I want to be, 5 minutes long or 10 minutes long so that it knows about how much to create. And so once that's done, we'll go ahead and press this one. If you're listening to this and you want me to show you how to do another one, so we had hashtags was one. If there's something else you want to see, go ahead and put it in the chat now, and I'll show you the prompt that I'm using and how to do it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's going to create those hashtags, and I'm going to check the chat. All right, perfect. So we have 10 hashtags here. Now, I'll be honest, hashtags aren't, I don't really know how to use them. So you all will have to tell me if these are good or not, and then I can tell you the prompt to use. So if anybody is a hashtag expert, please let us know, and I can change the prompt depending on what you say. And if none of us are, then I guess we'll never know until we test it out. All right. Now, any other questions before we move on to this next part? Okay, Dr. Teresa, go ahead.
In regards to the hashtags, you can be a little more specific for hashtags for the platform, like for Facebook or for TikTok or for LinkedIn, because it's going to be different for different platforms usually.
Okay, so let's say LinkedIn. I did do this the other day, not with hashtags, but with social posts. And I was really surprised, or with headlines, that's what it was for an article. I was really surprised to see how it changed based on that. So let's go ahead and say, whoops, I probably shouldn't have said here are 10 hashtags. I'm going to say what are. Okay, so we have leadership development, mindset for success. So you'll see that there's different ones. I don't really see any that are exactly the same, which is interesting. Positive mindset versus positive thinking. So we have a few different ones there that you can use for that. Thank you, Dr. Teresa. I appreciate it. That was really helpful. Talk more about SEO and AI. Okay, so there's not a ton to say here yet. A lot of this, so AI has been around for a while. People have been using it for a while, but the big tipping point was when ChatGPT came up and millions of people literally started using it within the first 5 days. And so one of the things with SEO and AI is that because AI isn't new, but it's the explosive growth of it, or the explosive interest of it is new. There's not a lot that I can say about that yet. So for example, Google has come out with something saying okay, we don't want you using AI for your articles, but we don't know how to track it, or we don't know how to identify it. And so ChatGPT was well, we're going to put patterns in these, kind of like if you're a photographer and you have metadata, it's kind of like that. We're going to put patterns in the words so that people know if it's AI generated or not, or so the SEO can know if it's AI generated or not, or your Google and stuff as it's looking at your website. But that being said, at least from what I read recently, it doesn't seem like that's something that's possible for them to know yet. But the reason that I would recommend editing or rewriting or paraphrasing is so that if they do that eventually, it's not going to be detrimental to you. Like I said, I don't think AI is going anywhere. We've seen Microsoft has committed to investing $10 billion in AI. We've seen all these other companies that are starting to use it. I don't think, and this is just my prediction, I don't know for sure, but I don't think this is something that is ultimately going to matter that much as far as SEO. I think that as long as there's quality content, that's what's going to matter most, but we don't know yet. So hopefully that's helpful. I'm sorry I don't have a solid answer for you yet on that. Let's see. Patty said, I wonder if you could say trending hashtags. Yeah, let's try that. Let's see. So I'm going to say, give me, and we'll try it. Let's do LinkedIn just to see the difference. I want you to create 10 trending hashtags to use on LinkedIn with the social post. Okay, so we added the word trending and we added the word LinkedIn. So let's see what happens there. Mindset Monday, Transformative Tuesday, Wellness Wednesday. I did not expect to go this direction. So that's really interesting. And I'm not on LinkedIn, so I'm not sure if those are actually trending ones or not. That might be something that would be helpful for you to take a look at, but that's, at the very least, it gives you a step in the right direction. All right, let's see what other questions you have. Let's see. Heather said the fact that Jasper's been around for a while and then AI blew up in December with ChatGPT speaks to the power of simplicity and ease of use, also free for right now. Yep. And you'd mentioned free for right now. So AI or ChatGPT has the free version, which is what you're looking at now. It also has a paid version that started to roll out, but it hasn't gotten to everyone yet. So there are millions of people using it. And so they're rolling it out based on who's on the wait list. And I signed up for the wait list like the same day, I think in that evening. And I haven't gotten the option yet. So that kind of speaks to how many people are using it. And the paid version, at least as of right now, is only $20, which is like the best $20 I think that you could spend pretty much ever. Let's see. Okay, so if you go to ChatGPT right now, it says ChatGPT is at capacity right now. How often does that happen? Great question. So that happens during certain times of the day. It happens fairly frequently. So what you'll do is you'll just continue to refresh every few minutes until you're able to get in there. I also put links that might help you get around that. The playground one, the API one, I've been able to get in sometimes on those when I haven't been able to get in on here. Because it's a free version, that's probably going to happen for a while. And I think it'll probably still happen for a while for the free version. They're saying it won't happen on the paid version. So we'll see, but that is, yeah, there's that. Now, if that does happen, you can use plenty of the other ones, like I said, but it's again, it's just a good start. Now, something else that I use, actually, before I move on, are there any other questions that I can answer for you before we move on to the next one? And while I'm waiting, I'm going to go ahead and pull up information on the next one. So we talked about how to do emails, social posts. We talked about how to do Facebook Live. Let me go ahead and do a script real quick while I'm waiting to see if anybody has any questions. I'll put in a script for TikTok instead, since that's going to look a little bit different. Let's see. Now I want you to use the same info above to create a, let's see, we'll say 60-second script for a TikTok video. Okay, I think there's something else I want to say, but I can't remember right now. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then while I'm doing that, I'm also thinking, okay, I could create a blog post for this. I could create some more emails. I could use it to reach out to people and do some cold messaging for like getting on their podcast or something like that. So let's go ahead and do that one next. Now I want you to think like a publicist. And let's see, create a cold pitch DM for people whose podcast I want to be on. Let's see, this email should compliment them, give them, I'm going to make, or sorry, cold pitch email template. The email should compliment them, give them a reason to pay attention to my email, and a reason to invite me to their podcast. Now, I haven't tried this particular prompt before, so I'm interested to see.
Did she freeze or me?
Must be her. I was just thinking the same thing. So at least two of us. So it's either both of us, Heather, or it's
awesome. She might be back in just a minute. She is at Marketer's Heart in New Orleans right now. So she's at the hotel, which sometimes has sketchy internet. Does it have the capacity of planning out a follow-up email sequence for a product or service? She got kicked off. There she is. She's back.
Hey, sorry about that. I got
okay.
My bad. All right, let's try that again. Okay, so I'm at a hotel right now in New Orleans, actually, for a conference, and their internet has been like wavering. So hopefully it'll let me get back in just a second. In the meantime, I can't see the chat anymore. So if there's any questions in there, Heather, if you wouldn't mind just letting me know.
Okay.
Awesome. And let's see, I'm going to go back here. And what I was asking it was to think like a publicist and create a cold pitch for template. So let's go ahead and press enter and see if it lets me go. Okay, looks like I am totally back in now. All right, special invitation. Let's see, to share a platform with a mental health expert. I've never seen it like that angle before, where it's like, you can share your platform with this. So I really like how they said it. I would take out, dear so-and-so, I hope this email finds you well. I wouldn't put again, that's prime real estate, and that's not going to like hook somebody in. Let's see. some of this doesn't hook me in at all, so I'm going to actually ask it to please create a better hook for the first paragraph. Make it seem more customized and compelling. I want them to feel excited reading the first paragraph. Okay, we'll see what we get with that. I do like the rest of it. It's just that first paragraph that I was like, kind of boring. All right, let's see. I couldn't help, okay, I like this already much better. I couldn't help but reach out to you after binge listening to Name Your Podcast. Stands out, and then why it stands out. Your dedication is truly inspiring. That part I don't really like. I do like, I know your audience is benefiting from your insights on a daily basis. I really like that part. I would even maybe pull from a testimonial that you've seen, or like a review you've seen from somebody that was like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. Something like that might be helpful. I think it might need a little bit more personality too. So I'm going to say, now please add more personality. And if that's not you, that's fine. You don't have to say that. I definitely like sharing personality stuff. This is the jacket I'm wearing today. Not even because of any reason. I just like sequins. So, but if you don't want that much pizzazz, that's okay too. All right. So for me, I like this. I would maybe tone it down just a little bit because it seems a little intense there. So I went to find that balance between boring and intensity. So, but at least at the very least, it gave me a starting point, which is really what I'm looking for. Does it help to be polite to it? Probably not. I'm always polite to it because I don't know. I genuinely treat it like it's a part of my team because it saves me that much time and helps me make money. So I treat it like it's a part of my team. I don't think you really need to, but it just feels right. So let's see, any other questions here? All right, so we have done a lot with this so far today, like a lot, and I hope that it's been helpful to you. We only have a few more minutes, so I'm going to show you one more thing it's doing, and then if anybody has any questions, you can let me know. So this has been a game changer for me. I sometimes feel incredibly anxious about my inbox. I love writing emails. I love receiving emails. I love hearing what people have to say. But when I open my inbox and I have 900 emails in my business account that I know I need to respond to because I want to have that relationship with my audience, I think, okay, I'll do it later because I am a procrastinator when I feel overwhelmed. So this is something that's helping me not procrastinate. I realized last year I hadn't responded to some emails that I meant to, but I felt overwhelmed. So I put it off and then I just didn't respond. And that's like, first of all, that's not the kind of person I want to be. But then also I looked at it and I was like, okay, so this lost me at least, a few tens of thousands of dollars. I don't want that to happen again this year. So what I've done is I've created a trigger in Zapier. So I have Google Workspaces where I have my email through. It's Brittany@winwithsystems.com. So it's still my domain. It's just through Google Workspace. And so what happens is I have whenever somebody emails me, I have a prompt that gets pulled up. So the trigger is somebody emails me. Let me pull that up. Okay. And then it sends it to OpenAI, which is ChatGPT. And then I have the prompt here. So just like how I did prompts in ChatGPT, you can do a prompt here. It says, write a friendly and professional response in American English to my client, and this would be their name, from Brittany Long. Analyze the email body and generate a professional and friendly response like we're both colleagues and friends based on the questions, concerns, statements, or requests. Make it sound like it was written by a human. I'm going to change that to add lots of personality. And then please do not communicate any promises to the client about the matter. I'm also going to add or suggest that we have a meeting. I have a toddler at home, so having meetings sometimes, it's a little iffy. So I try to have make sure I have childcare one day of the week. So I don't want it saying, hey, let's book a call when I know I'm fully booked up for a few weeks. So I'm going to add that, but you can share that I'll be able to work quickly to fulfill any requests in a timely manner. I'm going to take this part out because in Google Workspace I already have that. And then include a PS that I'm testing out new tools. So I want them to know this is from AI. So if it's weird, that's why. But I want them to know I'm testing it out. Also because then I can promote my AI Copy Club, which is our $9 a month membership where I show them this kind of stuff. They get 4 or 5 videos a week. It's awesome. I mean, not if I don't say so myself. And then, so that's the next thing I do. And then instead of it sending right away, because that freaked me out a little bit, I didn't want them to get an email from AI without me looking over it first. Especially since I'm still testing this, I have them create a draft reply in Gmail. And now let me show you what that looks like. So I had somebody named Wendy that emailed me. This is my personal one. So let me move this out of here. I had someone named Wendy that emailed me, and let me just pull up the email that it sent back, or that it drafted. I made a few edits, and I'll show you what those edits are. Let's see. Here it is. Okay. So she said, do you have a Facebook group where your members can put all the things we're trying and testing? I just tried it and it's so good. Okay. So then what it wrote for me was, if I spell it right. All right. So this is what it wrote back. Nope, that's from my project manager. Here we go. No, sorry. There we go. I don't know why that was so weird. All right. Sorry, I promise I know where this is. Let's see, AI, let me just try that. All right, I'm not seeing it right now, which is really weird, but I did send it, and basically it said, hey, Wendy, I'm so excited that you're here in AI Copy Club. This is going to be really helpful. I haven't thought about that yet, but I will think about it now. Really looking forward to, basically helping you and seeing if you have any other questions. And so, yeah, I don't know where it is now. Super weird. Anyway, but I like it because then it gives me that draft. And sometimes that's all I need to get started is a draft. Because then instead of it taking me an hour to respond to even 20 emails, it's taking me 10 minutes and I'm responding to almost all of them. Even on days where we have like 100 emails. All I have to do is edit. And if I get super overwhelmed, I can have somebody on my team, like my right-hand woman. I can say, hey, can you just go through all these drafts, edit anything that doesn't sound like me, or edit anything that doesn't feel right, and then send it off. And so that, it just makes it so much easier. Okay, we have covered a lot today, a lot. Do you have any final questions that I can answer for you today? I am more than happy. Yeah, Wendy's amazing too. I know, I love her. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have. But it's a game changer. It really is.
Yeah. So Brittany is not going to like toot her own horn, by the way, but that AI Copy Club is totally amazing and has so much in it. Like, I don't know how she's doing it for $9 a month right now. So jump in there. I'm in there. I just spent, when I was in Florida, I was with Brittany at her retreat. So this is what we were doing all week, was writing and using AI and writing emails and doing sequences and all of that stuff. And so she is a wealth of knowledge. And I can't speak highly enough of you, Brittany, honestly.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yay.